Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I would like to show you the process of drawing this beautiful face. It's a portrait of Angelina Jolie. I uploaded the time-lapse process video a few weeks ago and you requested slower tutorials, so here you are. I will show you all the basic steps how to draw these eyes, nose and her lips. Thank you for all your support also watching this video. It means a lot to me. And let's start! As usually, I recommend to start creating the basic outlines using H, HB or F pencil. Sometimes I like to create a little sketch before getting into the realistic drawing, as you can see in here. It helps me to learn a little more about the person I'm about to draw. I mean at least the basic proportions and shapes of the facial features and the expression of the face. I start the shading process with shading eyes, so let's focus on the eyes right now. I'm using HB pencil to create the basic shading of the iris, plus a blending stump to blend it. You can also use the graphite absorbed with the stump to create light, soft shading of the eyeball as well. And then I will add more layers of shading until I'm satisfied with the tone. Right now I'm using 4B pencil to fill the pupil. It helps me to see the iris as a whole, so all the shading of the iris will become much easier for me. You can even use a black colored pencil if you want to get darker. I also use a blending stump to blend it, and again I can use the absorbed graphite to darken the top of the iris, and then I just keep repeating it until I'm satisfied with the shading. In case you want to see the real-time version with a full voiceover, including the materials and more tips, check out my Patreon account where I share all the real-time videos and more detailed tutorials. The link is in the description. I would be very happy if you consider becoming part of my Patreon family. Right now, let's get to the software pencils. In this case, it's 4B. To create the darkest parts, the light is coming from the top, so I will create the darkest part under the upper lid and the edge of the iris. For creating the structural spokes in the iris, I use usually 2B pencil for lighter lines and 4B or 3B pencil to create the darker ones, depending on the color of the iris. Right now I'm using also the graphite absorbed with a blending stump while blending to create light soft shading of the skin and the eyeball. Right now I'm using 4B pencil to create the darkest shadow in the skin fold right above her eyeball, and I blend it all with the blending stump, creating also nice gradual transition of the values. Usually the blending process makes the shading a little lighter, so I add more shading again. Then I also use 3B pencil to darken the skin around the fold a little bit. And in the end I also use a soft paintbrush to merge it nicely all together. And when we're done with the skin, we can start creating the makeup on her eyes. To create the wink on her eye, I will take 4B pencil and I will apply it just like an eyeliner around the contours of her eye. If you want to draw a darker tone, I recommend to use softer pencils or a black colored pencil to create a black wing. I will use the same pencil to create the eyelashes. In this case, the eyelashes are with mascara on, so I'm using softer pencil to create them. In case the lashes are just natural with no mascara on, I usually draw them with harder pencils such as HB, H or 2B pencil. I just want to remind you that I made a special video on how to practice drawing realistic eyelashes a few weeks ago, so I recommend to check it out for more details. I will also use 3B and 4B pencil to create the makeup on her lower eyelid, and for the lower lashes I will use 2B pencil to create little lighter lines. I will also use 2B pencil to create the eyebrow hairs. You can also check out one of my previous tutorials on how to draw eyebrows with exercises to improve the confidence of the lines. I will add the link to the description. But basically I draw very thin lines in a very natural, irregular way of growing in various directions and of various lengths. I usually use soft paintbrush for blending because the blending stump could blend all the strokes away and we don't want that. Then I use the same pencil or 4B pencil to darken some lines and to add the little darker lines until I'm satisfied with the result. For drawing the second eye, I will repeat the same process. I will also build up the values gradually from the lightest tones to the darkest ones, using the pencil from HB, H or F pencil to 4B pencil. You can also use a black colored pencil for the darkest parts. And I usually prefer using more layers to create little darker tone instead of using more pressure. Also, you can see that I'm using a special piece of paper under my drawing hand. It's simply because I would like to prevent the drawing from some unwanted smudges and also the oils coming from my skin that could damage the paper and the drawing as well. When it comes to the nose, I try to keep it very simple and minimalistic. I will start using 2B pencil to create the basic shading in the lower part of the nose. And for blending, I'm using a soft paintbrush. It softens all the lines and merge it all together nicely and creates like very gradual effect of the transition between the values. And then I recommend to use softer pencil for creating the shadow under her nose. I usually use 2B or 4B pencil depending on the darkness. In case it seems a little light to you, you can add one more layer of shading to darken it, and then we will use a blending stump to blend it. It also creates nice blurry edge of the shadow, and then again also for creating soft shading. In case you want to create also shadows on the bridge of her nose, I recommend to use a soft paintbrush you used for the blending before and create the shading only with little amount of pressure, because on both sides there is no hard edge on it, and the paintbrush just creates nice smooth transitions. When I want to create very dark tone, I use an aquarelle black pencil, 6B, or an ordinary black colored pencil. Okay, so let's start with the lips. I'm using 2B pencil and I'm using contour shading technique to create a little illusion of roundness of both lips. For blending, it's great to use a soft paintbrush again, as it does not blend all the strokes away and the lines can be seen as a little texture in the lips. Then I will take a softer pencil to darken the middle part of the lips. In this case 4B pencil. There's actually the darkest part of the lips. And then I start creating the texture, which is very important part, little wrinkles in the lips. And I love to use HB pencil to indicate the wrinkles, and HB to 2B pencil to add little gradual shading to it. I do not like to create wrinkles as simple lines because it simply doesn't look so realistic. So it's always better to add little shading to it. And in the end, I usually use a pencil eraser to create some lighter values, to create highlights in the drawing. I love to use the pencil eraser because it can be sharpened into a point and you can erase very detailed parts as well. So that is all from me for today. I hope the tutorial was helpful. If you want to watch the real-time narrated version, I would be really happy if you join me on Patreon. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also share it with your friends and make sure to subscribe to my channel because many new videos, new tutorials, tips and challenges are coming soon. See you next time.